All right, so let's talk about computer class. For a lot of us, that phrase probably brings back, I don't know, memories of those beige computers, clunky keyboards, and maybe Mavis Beacon teaching you how to type, right? Well, that world, it's completely gone. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see what's really happening in middle school tech classes. So, let me ask you, what pops into your head when you picture a computer lab today? Is it still just, rows of kids quietly tapping away, trying to boost their words per minute? If that's what you're thinking, you are in for a surprise. The skills they're learning now, it's a whole different ballgame. I mean, the difference is just staggering. On one hand, you had the then, which was all about typing practice and maybe messing around in MS Paint if you were lucky. But the now, it's incredible. We're talking Python coding, actual game design, creating brand identities like you'd see in a marketing firm, and even getting into data analysis and cybersecurity. It's a huge shift, right? They've gone from just using the computer to actually building things with it. So, how does this journey even start? Well, it all kicks off in 6th grade, and the goal here is to build a really solid foundation. Think of it as learning the essential rules of the road for the digital world before you get the keys to the car. Looking at the 6th grade curriculum, you can see it's really built on a couple of big ideas. You've got digital citizenship, which is all about being a smart, safe online citizen. So things like strong passwords and understanding your digital footprint. And then you have computational thinking. That's where they start to dip their toes into a logic of how computers work using fun tools like Scratch and code.org. And one of the first and maybe most important things they learn about is this idea of a digital footprint. Basically, every single thing you do online, every site you visit, every email you send, it leaves a trail. And the point here isn't to scare them, not at all. It's about empowerment. It's about teaching them to be mindful and responsible right from the get-go. And this is how those big ideas turn into actual skills. You'll notice the goals are all phrased as I can statements. That's super important because it's not about memorizing definitions. It's about being able to do stuff. So by the end of it, a 6th grader can say, yep, I can tell you about my digital footprint, or I can make a strong password. And then there's the really cool part. They learn to think like a coder, breaking down a problem into a sequence of steps, an algorithm, and then use that to build a simple game in Scratch. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so that's 6th grade. Now let's jump ahead to 7th grade. They've got the basics down, so now things start getting a little more complex. The focus shifts to navigating the tricky, messy social world of the modern internet. And you can really see the focus sharpen here. They're tackling heavy-hitting topics like the real impact of social media and, super importantly, how to spot online threats like phishing scams. At the same time, they're leveling up their tech skills, moving beyond the basics of coding into things like analyzing data using spreadsheets. And this is what I think is so crucial. The curriculum is talking about the real dangers kids face online every day. It's not just some vague Be Safe Online lecture. No, they are explicitly taught how to recognize a phishing scam. And let's be honest, that's a life skill we all need, not just 7th graders. You can really see the natural progression, can't you? The learning targets are pushing them towards more critical thinking. It's not enough to just spot a scam. Now they're analyzing privacy from different points of view. And with coding, they're taking that next big step from simple commands to creating programs with loops, which is a massive concept in programming. All right, now we get to 8th grade, and this is where it all comes together. This is where it gets really cool. After 2 years of learning all those foundational skills, the students actually get to choose. They get to specialize in a path that really interests them. They've got 2 main choices. Do you want to be a designer or do you want to be a coder? If you pick the designer path, you're diving into the visual world. We're talking graphic design, video, animation, all that creative stuff. If you go the coder route, you're going deep into programming, building websites and games from scratch using actual code. So if you're a designer, your whole world becomes project-based. These are not textbook lessons. They're hands-on, creative deep dives. Students are making real things, designing brand style guides, producing their own short videos, creating animated GIFs. They even take a full scene from storyboard to final animation. Think about that. They are building a legitimate creative portfolio before they even set foot in high school. And over on the coder path, it's just as hands-on, just a different set of tools. They might learn the basics of Python by playing a game called Code Combat, and then immediately turn around and use that knowledge to code their own Python quiz. They build a multi-page website with HTML and CSS, the real deal. And they even get to program physical devices called microbits. It's all about applying logic in a very real, tangible way. So it's easy to list all these cool projects, but what does the process actually look like? How do they go from an idea to a finished product? Let's do a little deep dive and see how all those skills from 6th and 7th grade come together for these big final projects. Okay, let's take that animate a scene project. It's not just open a program and start clicking. They follow a process just like the pros. Step 1, plan it out. They have to brainstorm, create a storyboard, write a script. Step 2, learn the tools. They get trained on professional level software. Step 3, create. They build the characters, the backgrounds, add sound. And finally, step 4, polish and export the final video. It's basically a mini version of how a real animation studio works. And for the coders building a website, forget about drag and drop templates. These students are writing the code from scratch. They're using HTML tags to structure the page and CSS to make it look good. But here's the part I find absolutely brilliant. They also learn how to create their own Creative Commons license. So they're not just learning how to build something, they're learning about the ethics of sharing their work online. That's huge. So when you step back and look at the whole 3-year journey, from 6th grade all the way through 8th, it's really clear. These kids are walking out of middle school with a toolkit that is incredibly powerful and frankly way more sophisticated than you might expect. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, by the time they finish 8th grade, they've got 3 core things. First, digital ethics, how to be a good, safe, responsible person online. Second, creative fluency. They know their way around modern design tools. Third, problem-solving logic. They can think like a coder to build solutions. And maybe the best part? They walk away with a digital portfolio, their own personal website that they built to show off all their awesome work. You know, when you really look at it, this isn't computer class anymore. Not even close. It's more like an apprenticeship for the modern world. It's teaching them how to think, how to create, and how to be a part of this digital society. And that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about, right? When you stop teaching kids how to use one specific piece of software that might be obsolete in 5 years, and instead you teach them the timeless skills of logic, creativity, and ethics, how much better are you preparing them for jobs and a future that we can't even imagine yet?